already. College Blok, College Blok, College Blok Network. The 50 Block Connection. College Blok, College Blok, College Blok Network. The 50 Block Connection.
Hello everyone, once again this is your host Rhythm, and I'd like to thank you for watching another edition of College Blok. Today I have on the show a very special guest. I'm privileged to have him come on the show, being that he has a very busy schedule. He's from the city of Mount Vernon, and he's actually running for mayor. His name is Mr. Pete Sherrill. All right, I'd like to thank you for coming on my show.
You're welcome, sir. My pleasure. Thank you very much for having me.
All right.
Yeah.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just read some of the things as far as from your advertisement ballot here, some of your experience, and then we're going to go into dialogue, and you let the people know, you know, who you are and what you do. Now, as far as from reading this, it says you're born and raised in Mount Vernon.
Yep.
Right. You have 25 years of experience in corporate America.
Absolutely.
Wow. Former director of civil defense. Major. Specializing in homeland security. We're going to go into that.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And this says also emergency preparedness and safe schools.
Absolutely.
Good. So once again, I'd like to thank you for coming on my show.
Thank you. Pleasure.
Yes.
My pleasure, sir.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So now, what sparked? Because it sounds like you've grown up in the Mount Vernon area, and you've seen, how would I say, you've seen the city build, you've seen the population grow, you've seen different generations of young people. What motivated you or sparked your interest to run for mayor?
Well, it's multifaceted, but if I can just kind of give you a shortened version. I worked in city government after my time in corporate America, and after my time in City Hall, I went into the school system. And it was really the school system that really prompted me to really take a different look at what's going on in Mount Vernon.
Yes.
We have serious issues in our school system.
Yes, this is true.
And the safety of the schools and the safety of the teachers and children and administration became of utmost concern to me. And because I had extensive background in working with them while I was in city government, I decided that if somebody doesn't take a stance and deal with the fiscal aspect of the school, because it's a tremendous part of the school budget, of the city's budget, like almost 70%, which is causing high property taxes, and you know,
it's a trickle-down effect.
It's absolutely.
Yeah.
It's like, and for the last 16, 20 years, nobody has really addressed it, and now it's basically out of control. Right. And so it's like, and with a 50% high school graduation rate, the disservice to the children.
Right. That's
and the repercussions of the lack of education is becoming more and more prevalent in the city of Mount Vernon, and you see that from high crime, murders, drugs, and they basically set them up for the criminal justice system. And as a person who's serious about education, because I know it's the key, because it's saved me, because I grew up in the projects on the south side of Mount Vernon, and I know how important it is for education in the city, and for any community. And this is just prevalent and rampant amongst all urban cities, and we are the most impacted.
Yes, this is true.
And if somebody doesn't do something about it and stand up, then what about our youth? What about the future of our city?
This is true. Now, they
Absolutely.
say Mount Vernon is 4 square miles in radius.
4.2 square miles.
4.2.
I know
So,
that from.
with as a city is that small, why do you think some of the things are so magnified as far as the level of violence, the level of high school dropouts? I mean, there's a lot of positive stuff. Don't get me wrong, people.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of positive stuff going on in the city of Mount Vernon. Mount Vernon is flourishing with black-owned businesses as well as other foreign-operated businesses. There's a lot of restaurants and eateries and clothing stores, and there's a lot of stuff going on out there. So don't get me wrong. I don't want to put it out there like the city of Mount Vernon is this wasteland. No, I mean it's definitely flourishing. But on the other side, the side that we're losing on, why do you think it's kind of magnifying compared to 5 or 10 years ago? What's going on out there?
There are very different things that are going on, but it's mostly related to the lack of economic opportunity.
Okay.
Not to say that there are not some positive things going on. I would challenge or take exception to flourishing.
Yes.
It is not flourishing. There is a select group or select few who are benefiting.
Okay.
From some of the projects in Mount Vernon. But if you really take a good look, if I can give you an example.
Sure, please do.
The building that was just recently constructed on what they call probably the Hood, 3rd Street and 3rd Avenue and 2nd Avenue.
Yes.
Here is a building being built in the Hood, in the heart of 3rd Street, if everybody's familiar with Mount Vernon.
Right.
And you don't see anybody from the community actually working on this building, which is probably one of the highest buildings that have been built, residential apartment buildings built in the city of Mount Vernon.
Right.
And it was sponsored or was a project of Grace Baptist Church. So now how do you rationalize such a project taking place, an enormous multi-million-dollar project taking place, and nobody in the community or of the community is actually a part of such a project?
Right, and you're saying from, when I say witnessing the development, not even laborers, not even people taking up the rubbish, like not even all the way down to where you don't have to be a skilled laborer to actually do it. It's just a matter of being physically capable of lifting things and moving things around. So you're saying all the way down to the non-skilled laborer, there was a very small, minute percentage of African Americans working on their project, and it's in Mount Vernon, in the heart of Mount Vernon?
Absolutely. And, and another example is they just built a building on Columbus and Sanford Boulevard.
Yes.
And if you see one African American on that project, I would doubt it. I mean, I rode by there, I haven't seen one.
Right.
So, flourishing, so automatically you have this disparity economically. And so it makes you begin to question flourishing. For some, maybe, but for who? Definitely not.
Right. Who's benefiting?
Who's benefiting? And that's one of the reasons why when I run for mayor, when I become mayor, that these type of projects, if it's not reflective of the community, then you're not building in my city. It has to be reflective of the community.
Yes.
Has to be.
Right, because there's a lot of, young men as well as men that want to work, they want to do things. But like you're saying, when they tell you, okay, well, you have to get certified. So you go, you take these classes, you get certified.
Oh, sure.
And even with the certification, you're
still watching them build these buildings.
Right, right.
In the city of Mount Vernon. And so my question is, how is this continuing? And actually, there's a new project that's going on on Sanford and Franklin.
Yes.
They have unearthed it. They've dug it all up, and they have it boarded up, and I just happened to be passing by today, and I looked in, and I just was curious because I want to see the personnel that is involved in these type of projects.
Yes.
And once again, no African Americans.
Right.
whatsoever in any of these projects. And this is becoming a pattern, and it has to be addressed.
Right.
And as long as you have those type of disparities in economics, because this is not minimum wage labor.
Okay.
This is real wage, real money, real work, and opportunity to get a skill, trade.
Trade, yes, sir.
And where you can go anywhere and say, I have these skills, and you can be qualified to do these type of jobs in construction and take care of your family. And, you know, at the end of the day, you know, you can go home and, you know, prepare and have a decent meal and be able to pay your rent or pay your mortgage.
Right.
But none of these opportunities are available. And some say, oh, well, you're not qualified. And that reminds me of when I used to work in corporate America. And,
yes.
And we'll get into that, I'm sure, as another point also. But, you know, for this to be taking place in Mount Vernon, it troubles me immensely.
Yes, I can imagine.
And trust me when I say that it's going to discontinue when I become in office. Yeah, it's going to discontinue.
Yes, yes,
That's
yes,
right.
yes. I'm very sure of it. You meeting you and hearing you speak, you definitely have a focus.
Absolutely.
I mean, and being that you're from the city, you definitely have a connection with making a difference in Mount Vernon.
Have to.
Yes, definitely.
I mean, you know, it's interesting. This is my home, and so it's passion that's involved. It's just not, well, you know, I think I want to do this. I think I want to do that. You cannot sit back in your own home and watch this, because if you do,
right,
you know, then you can't complain about it.
Yes.
It's either do something about it or sit back and just watch what's going on.
Yes.
I've never been good at just sitting back,
right.
and watching things happen and that are unjust.
Right, I understand.
It's unjust.
I understand.
And it has to be dealt with.
Okay, so for our viewers, before we go into the mayor candidacy, I want to also let all our viewers know that you are a writer and a publisher, and these books that we have here, for all our viewers, these books, you have written as well as published several of these books. Can you explain to our viewers, just briefly, how this whole hobby got started as far as you writing and publishing books?
Oh, be my pleasure. It started like this. When I was in corporate America, I worked at Texaco Inc., and there was a racial discrimination lawsuit that we were part of. And I used to always go around and say, one day I'm going to write a story about what really happened at Texaco during this racial discrimination lawsuit.
That's where it starts, brother. Right.
And so one day, while I was in City Hall, I realized people was asking me, what happened during that lawsuit? Did you win? I was like, how could you not know that we won? It was the largest settlement of a racial discrimination lawsuit in the history of corporate America.
Right.
And we had no idea. I was like, wow. I said, you know what? I'm going to write this story. And I didn't have a clue. And so somebody told me, you know what, you just start. Actually, it was Ilyasa Shabazz.
Yes.
She told me she was working in the recreation department. I was, you know, down in the Office of Civil Defense. And she said, well, you know, they came to me. I was like, well, ain't nobody coming to me. So
right.
What do I do? She said, well, just start writing. I said, well, you know what? I can do that. And so I started writing with a pen and a pad.
Fabulous.
And just, next thing you know, the story was handwritten. Then it was like, I have to put this in a computer.
Right.
And it was like, oh, man. What a process. What a process. Work.
Yes.
Work.
Definitely.
And afterwards, after I had it all, you know, typed it up into the computer, you know, it took several months, but I already knew what I wanted to write.
Yes.
and it's not what people thought it was going to be. Black to the Future.
Right.
Wow. First, I always knew what I wanted to write. The big thing was come up with the title, Black to the Future.
So that was this was the first.
That was the first.
Okay, Black to the Future. This was
from the plantation to the corporation.
What? Hold on, people. Ooh. Let me reiterate that. He said, Black to the Future, from the plantation to the corporation. People, this book is deep.
It's actually it's actually in the Schomburg Museum Library.
Oh my goodness!
And they tell me that, I mean, for a novice author,
yes,
you never get your book in the Schomburg on the first attempt. And there's a phenomenal story behind that. But,
right.
You know,
heart and soul went into that one.
Heart and soul. Well, actually,
right.
all of them. But you know, that was like, you know,
right.
That's a close to as raw and uncut as it could be. And actually, what happened was a couple of deals that I had fell through.
Yes.
And basically, I had hit a wall.
Right.
And I had no concept whatsoever about this whole book industry or publishing.
Right.
Whatsoever. And so I had to explore.
Okay.
And one day I did some things, and I sent a request for certain things, and I got back this letter that said, "Dear publisher." And I said, wow, I'm a publisher. I have no idea what a publisher even does. And from that point on, but I embraced it.
Right.
And so I was like, okay. And so from that point forward, I was like, I'm a publisher.
Yes, this is wonderful.
And guess what? Look at me now. And
yeah,
this has only been a couple of years that I've been doing
this. This is great. This is great.
And that's how it all began.
Great, great. All right. So now jumping back into the mayor candidacy.
Yes.
What is the role or job? Matter of fact, let's not even go into job description. What is the role of an active mayor? Because people tend to, I guess, have expectations of what a mayor should do and is supposed to do while they're in office. But from your knowledge, what is the daily role of a mayor? What type of productivity should a mayor do within his time in office?
Well, you know what? I'm going to, you know, share something kind of on the personal side with how I actually even began my, you know, career, and I won't say career, just got involved in City Hall, and with the previous Mayor Davis.
Yes.
And you know, it was shortly after I had ran for school board. See, me and education are inseparable. All right, and I'm probably be the first. This is probably the first time that Mount Vernon has ever had a mayor truly, totally dedicated to education. So I almost won, but it was a last-minute type of thing.
Okay.
But I was working in the after-school program, and I saw children with who couldn't do their 2 times tables without counting on their fingers. I was like, wow, but this is dangerous.
Right.
So anyway, so something happened, and after that, you know, me and Mayor Davis, we used to talk because we used to meet at different corporate events from Texaco, trying to clean up that's the company I wrote about the racial discrimination lawsuit. And we used to, you know, he used to be at different events for Texaco. So we began talking. He's like, you know, when you leave corporate, come visit me. So we talked, and then when I ran for school board, he was really proud of me.
Yes.
So, you know, I was in his office one day, and he says, why do you think you would like to get into politics? And I looked at him. I was like, well, you know, to be perfectly honest, I know you can really help people.
Right. And that's
and he said, and that's what he said. He said, absolutely right. And you know what was phenomenal about it? At that point, he called in his secretary and said, Pete Sherrill is going to be the new director of Civil Defense and Emergency Services. And so, with that, the role of the mayor is to help the people. And so our motto is really simple. It's government for the people, by the people, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to take care of all of the people.
Right.
And that is what is missing in Mount Vernon. And the other thing that we really come to have to bring to the forefront is that, you know, Mount Vernon, actually, you know, we talk about, oh, we have a surplus, but the streets are broken up.
Right.
We have a surplus, but you have a high crime rate.
Yes.
We have a great bond rating, but your school system is failing.
Yes.
And my thing, being as educationally oriented as I am, if your educational system is failing, your city is failing.
Right.
And that's what's happening in Mount Vernon. Its educational system is failing, so the city is failing. And that's why you have everything that's going on in Mount Vernon the way that it is.
Yes.
It's based on education and the failure of that system.
Right.
And somebody doesn't fix it. And all these people who are running for mayor have been in City Hall 20 plus years. And let me tell you something. When you're entrenched in a system, and I say system with very serious emphasis, systems. These are systems that are in place, rigid and unflexible, and you become as unflexible as the system. And I don't care how long you say, oh, well, I'm not that. Once you've been involved with something, and that's basically sociological, psychological, which I mind is sociology and psychology, you become part of that system.
Yes.
And you become as rigid and as structured as that system. And that's the danger. And so there's no room for this flexibility to do things differently. And that's what I am scared of most for Mount Vernon, that in the direction that it is heading, the direction, if you look around Mount Vernon, there are commercial properties that are leaving, commercial properties that are for sale all over the city. There are houses, people losing their houses all over the city because of the school budget.
Right.
Taxes are enormous. And for the last 20 years, nobody has done anything about it.
Right. Something
And the school system is failing.
Right. Something to think about.
Oh, this is a serious mission. This is a mission.
Right. So, do you have, as far as for your campaign, as far as for donations or any information that people may want to know, as far as the events that you're going to be having, fundraiser events, you have a website, email, or anything you want to give to the viewers, let everybody know how they can, you know, get in contact with your campaign group?
Actually, the website is www.PeteSherrill4mayor.com. That's F-O-R, not the number 4. We decided to just keep English language, even though in the world of texting. So it's PeteSherrill4mayor.com. What is interesting, though, how we're approaching this, unlike all our other candidates, you know, doing the fundraiser and getting all the, you know, these special interests to invest in their campaign. You know, when we get in City Hall, we're not going to owe any special interest, any favors. We are basically financing our own campaign.
Right. The favorite game is
there's a big favor game going on. Oh, yeah. Deep. Because there's a lot of development that can be done in Mount Vernon. And if you owe, I don't know if I should use this example. Well, I won't use that example because, you know, I don't want to, you know, hit like that. But let's just, I'll put it in general terms. I'll put it in more general terms. I learned how to be a politician already. You know, my background is corporate.
Be politically correct.
Yeah, I'll be politically correct for a minute. Let's just say you're a mayor, you have a you having a celebration after you win an election.
Yes.
And said person just decides, you know, hey, you know what? Don't even worry about that. I'll pay for the gala affair. And then later on down the line, you see that he's getting a building for $1 in the city of Mount Vernon. I rest my case.
Inquiring minds want to know.
You know, and these are the things that are taking place in Mount Vernon. These are the type of deals that's going on. That's why, you know, we're not doing any fundraising. Well, you know, if anybody wants to donate to our campaign, you can go on our website and you can contribute to the campaign.
Right.
But also, we want to also show that, you know what, it doesn't really take all that money to run a campaign if you know how to run it efficiently and effectively. And see, if you can run that efficiently and effectively, then you can run the government as efficiently as effectively.
Very good.
And you can run it for the people.
Right.
I have a vision for Mount Vernon, and I have a plan for Mount Vernon.
Right.
And I plan on utilizing my background in Homeland Security to make Mount Vernon safe and the school system's safe.
Right. All right. So what I'm gonna do right now is
Yeah.
I want to go black to the future.
Black to the
Black to the future.
Oh,
Now your
yeah.
first day in Mount Vernon City Hall, going into your office. All right. What is your agenda if you become mayor on your first day and then on? What are you gonna do?
My first day, to be perfectly honest, we're going to sit down, and we're going to sit down with our legal representatives of the city, and we're going to put together legislation for city council to deal with the fiscal inequities that we're running across with the school board and the board of education.
Very good.
Because I had the opportunity, you see, to work in the Board of Education, helping them with their Safe School initiative, because in Homeland Security, schools are supposed to be as prepared as the city.
Right.
Okay, and there's certain things that you need to do to make sure. So I was helping them with their compliance with the State Department of Education.
Yes.
And what I saw when I was in the Board of Education, I saw administratively such waste.
Yes.
And so I began, because I know systems and my background is in corporate America, my education is in management and economics. I started looking at the Board of Education, which is 70% of the city's budget, and I said, you know, instead of firing teachers and janitors and cleaning people, we're gonna do the reverse. Let's look at this administratively.
Let's start from the top.
We're gonna do a top down. This ain't
right. Forget about all the little people.
That does nothing for the budget.
No.
And I'm gonna tell you something. We have something on our website called a $50 million tax plan, tax reduction plan.
Yes,
Let
sir.
me tell you something. They're about to meet their Mayor Bloomberg.
Right.
Absolutely. And that is the first thing on my agenda when I get into office, is that we're going to reduce property taxes in the city of Mount Vernon through our initiative, through this tax reduction plan, which will automatically bring in real investment and economic development. And I'm not talking about no 5-10 million. I'm telling you, I have identified, and we calling it the reorganization and the consolidation of the administration of the Board of Education. Let me tell you something.
Nice.
Albany can't even object to what we're trying to do.
Right.
Because the vision is to make Mount Vernon self-sufficient, where it doesn't have to depend on, oh, if this happens, what are we going to do? Because with this reduction and consolidation, now you have an efficiently running school administration.
Right.
Now, if you can save the taxpayers $50 million, the plan is this, and this is on my website, so if my counterparts would like to try to take this out, I'm already prepared for that also, because that's what they teach you in Homeland Security, how to be prepared for all contingencies.
Yes.
Phenomenal industry. Need more of us in it.
Yes.
We're going to take part of that surplus. It's almost like a surplus when you consolidate it. And part of it's going to just be put in reserve for interest, about maybe 35 to 40. The other is going to be to fix the entire infrastructure, the city of Mount Vernon, creating tremendous economic opportunities for all of the residents in the city of Mount Vernon, regardless of what your background is. If you want to work, we have a job for you, because fixing this, if you've been through Mount Vernon and driven your car, you know the conditions of the infrastructure in Mount Vernon. We're going to pave every street, fix every sidewalk. You imagine how much work that is?
Yes, I understand.
And it's within the community, and that's the way we're going to keep it. And what it does economically is now you have all this ability, economic power, to change things in the city of Mount Vernon.
Right.
And that's what I intend on doing.
Well, once again, Mr. Pete
Sherrill.
I'd like to thank you for coming on my show, College Blok. Once again, it was a pleasure. To all my viewers out there, thanks for your support. Stay tuned. Stay blessed. Peace.
My stage name is Jason, spelled JCA. My music team is New City Franchise. I grind, homie, there's no doubt about it. But what makes a rap artist great to you? You tell me what makes them stand out to you. What makes them the best? A name to be mentioned among the greatest. What makes them a king?